Hi everyone, Brenda Gustin here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about lab safety. Even though you're doing a virtual lab this semester, I wanted you to get a perspective of what the lab looks like and the kind of safety practices you would do in a typical microbiology lab. Right now I'm in the room where we teach microbiology at Corning Community College, and you can see that it's very neat and organized. Let's see. Not a lot of clutter. And that's always good. You want to have a lot of clear space to work and not a lot of clutter. And so when you bring materials to the lab, you don't want to put them right on your benchtop, because think about bacteria you're working on, things could get knocked over. And so you always want to store your materials away from where you're actually working. We always clean off our benchtops with some Lysol. I always have some Lysol by the sinks. And you can see here, I can just spray off the bench top and do a little bit of cleaning. And actually, when I'm getting started, the important thing about cleaning off the bench top is that I don't want dust getting into my samples that I'm creating. So there's always a little bit of dust on a surface, even a benchtop that gets cleaned off regularly. And so by cleaning it off with Lysol, I'm reducing the chance of getting dust into my cultures. And with dust come bacteria and fungi. The other thing is no consuming food or drinks in the laboratory. You can imagine that you could accidentally consume bacteria that you're working with at the same time. There's a common thing in laboratories that we always say, wear closed-toed shoes. Here we go, regular old shoes, closed-toed shoes. Things can happen in laboratories. I've known of circumstances where somebody opened up the autoclave, hot water came out unexpectedly, and they burned their feet because they were wearing sandals. I've heard of situations where people have gotten cut when they break glassware and it falls between their shoe and their foot, so by wearing open-toed shoes. So we always wear closed-toed shoes in class in any microbiology lab. You also have to just be aware of your clothing and anything hanging off you. You know, if you have a hoodie and you've got ties coming off, we have a lot of times we have Bunsen burners going on, or you might have some bacteria here. You don't want to get your clothes in there. Long billowy sleeves, we don't want that in the lab, or a billowy skirt, because those kinds of clothes can touch cultures accidentally or can catch on fire. So they're not appropriate for the microbiology lab. The reduction of aerosols, anytime that you're using a liquid with bacteria in it, you've got to be careful that you don't create bubbles and things, because when bubbles pop, they make aerosols. And when you're pipetting, you don't want to try to push liquid through an almost empty pipette and let the droplets scatter, because they could have bacteria in it that you could inhale. Anytime you spill something or break something, you should let your instructor know, because they can just be aware of what's going on and make sure that it's cleaned up properly. We always, in the microbiology lab, you would always disinfect things that have bacteria in them before you throw them away. So we have, if you're using slides, a lot of times we would take the slides and we put them in a container like this that has Lysol in it, and we drop the slides in there, and they'll get disinfected before they get thrown away. The other thing, if you look towards the back of the room, all the way in the back of the room there, that metal thing is an autoclave. And you'll be talking about the autoclave sometime this semester in lecture. And that's where we sterilize all of our media and all in the laboratory. If we create Petri plates and they have bacteria and fungi growing on them, we'll sterilize them in the autoclave. So that always needs to be done before you throw things away. Let's see. Oh, tightening reagent bottles. Anytime you have a bottle of something, a dropper bottle, make sure that you tighten the lids when you're done. It's really common that people will leave lids loose and then the next person walks up and pours the reagent all over the place. So it's a lot of being just self-aware. Never handle cosmetics or contact lenses or anything like that while you're in the lab, because not only can you get bacteria in your eye, but it can potentially cause infections. When you're all done with your laboratory experiment, you're going to do the Lysol on your countertop again, because you might have left some bacteria there, and you don't want to put the next person at risk. So those are some of our general things that we do in the microbiology lab.